Hi everybody, welcome to the Stellium Astrology podcast. I'm Stephanie James, your host. I'm the founder of stelliumastrology.com. I'm a tutor at the London School of Astrology and also a former horoscope columnist for Elle Magazine UK and a number of other publications. And today I just wanted to talk about, let's have a look. I'll just pull the chart up just because. I just wanted to, where's the share screen option? There it is. Oh dear, there we go. I just thought I'd bring this chart up just to talk, just so I'm not like center stage. But yeah, we've got a little stellium here in Scorpio. I mean, this is what people argue is not a stellium actually, because it's the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. And though it's still a heavy emphasis and it's personal planets, these guys are like always quite close together. Therefore, they are, they're just like a gang that goes from place to place, especially in Scorpio. But kind of think of them as, like people that just they're always hanging out together. Like they're not. You'd be surprised if you saw one of them wasn't there. You'd be like, oh, where's the other guy? Where's the other guy today? Oh, he's in the shop next door. He's still buying sweets from the newsagent, basically. He'll be here in a minute. But yeah, so either way, a lot of people will argue, well, yes, it is a stellium because, the personal planets are very important during a stellium. And they are, very close to the nodes. Look at Venus there, is like right on top of the south node. So relationship stuff right now is probably dealing with some of the stuff that you are not feeling so great about. Things have to be addressed. With Venus, it's always about unfair, what's fair, what's not fair. I initially wanted to just have a little chat today about we're kind of in the middle of eclipses. Let's have a look. When's the next one? I did have it written down somewhere, and where's my book gone? My book of numbers. There it is. So where are we? We are 2022. That sounded a bit Michael Jackson. November 2022. And the next eclipse is on the 8th. It's a total eclipse. A total eclipse at the heart. And it's in Taurus. So I'm being obviously very weird today, and maybe that's because we have planets opposing Uranus. So somebody here's got to be weird. One of us has got to be weird. So we have on the 8th, should we skip ahead? So we're not too far from the next eclipse now. Step forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go, 8th of November, in less than a week. And actually, I believe that it's a bit later in the day, just because I think it's at about 16 degrees actually, the eclipse. And it's things that seem to be coming up for a lot of people are issues of worth. People are defending their value, basically, how valuable other people make them feel, their own self-worth. This is so Taurus. And with Taurus and Scorpio, it's not just about value is about actual wealth, financial value, financial worth, but also it's about what you value personally. And I think for me, what you value is what you prioritize. So for me, I always feel like with the Mars and Venus signs, Mars and Venus are both about our priorities. And traditionally Mars rules Scorpio, and also Aries, and Venus rules Libra and Taurus. And both of these signs tend to appear for us when we are, trying to either prioritize or trying to we're putting something first. Usually we're putting something above other things. When it comes to relationships, it's that other person that we value highly, usually, so we will value them and put them above most other people in our lives. Potentially you could be the person that you value most in the relationship, and you don't have a problem putting yourself first, but there's always this kind of trying to make the settle the balance between yourself and the other, whether you're somebody who's a people pleaser or somebody who doesn't like to rock the boat at all, has a bit of conflict aversion, doesn't like to get into arguments with people. Then the struggle is going to be sacrificing yourself a lot of the time, to the point that you're never doing what you want to do. And with things like during this eclipse season, with these heavy planetary emphasis in Scorpio opposing the moon and Uranus in Taurus on the nodes, we've got this by the way, I've just set it up for the eclipse approximately about 11 o'clock on the 8th of November, and that's universal time. That's 11 o'clock AM as well. So when it comes to what we value in the kind of Taurian sense, and what value means in Scorpio, usually value is about other people's investment in us, whether it be financial, or whether it's in some kind of use of resources towards helping us to develop, to share the wealth in some way, whether it's pooling your resources, pooling your finances to get a house together. Like I said, I feel like signing the marriage certificate is pretty much a Scorpio deed, or an 8th house deed, because you're signing a contract and it crystallizes that bond, which I feel is very Scorpio, very frozen water, emotionally freezing things, that till death do us part. But as far as the eclipses are concerned, not only are we seeing like insane, severe instability in the financial markets, I believe the pound is on its way back up again, which is a relief for us in the UK, to know that the pound seems to be doing a little bit better now, following the absolute shit show of British politics of recent weeks. I was going to say recent years. I mean, yes, the recent years have been unbelievable, but the recent weeks have been an absolute circus, unbelievable circus. To have Liz Truss be our Prime Minister for 6 weeks, and she has literally, she spoke at the Queen's funeral. Like, Boris was out, the Queen passed away, Liz Truss spoke at the funeral, to the point that an Australian news channel didn't even know who she was. It was like, who is this? Some a minor royal maybe, which I'm sure Liz Truss would have loved, being a Leo. I'm a minor royal. But like the fact that she wasn't even recognized during the the Queen's funeral, for her to be out 5 weeks later, gone, resigned, left, booted out. And now Rishi Sunak, her previous competitor to the position of the Prime Minister, the #1 minister, the top head honcho, he's now in position, he's in power. For some people that's a great relief, for others it's just another person on the comedy carousel of British politics, and a lot of people are just so sick of the fact the Conservative Party is still in power, when really there should be some kind of public say in who's ruling. Now this feels like it's all part of the drama, because before we have the eclipses, they're kind of in a window of pre-shadow, essentially. They're kind of within their orb, and this kind of crisis is spelt out with the seesaw between the signs of building and construction and destruction. We say, like, Taurus is very much about constructing things, laying foundations, building things up, and Scorpio is all about destruction. And we know all about the destructive power of the Scorpio, that kind of Plutonian flavor, because we've got Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn, who is literally working his way towards moving into Aquarius in March next year. Same month that Mars leaves Gemini, same month that Saturn enters Pisces. So we've got lots of stuff going on next March. And yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting time as far as hierarchy is concerned for the for Pluto entering Aquarius. And not to be doom and gloom, but I think I did actually do a tarot reading. I'm going to have to watch over my tarot reading, but I did a tarot reading in April for the astrological new year. And during that reading, I talked about the fact that the Queen was getting quite old. She'd lost her husband. I don't know if she had at that point. I think she had. And it was looking at Pluto creeping towards Aquarius. Many astrologers felt that it was symbolic of a change of ruler. It was time for a new leader, and this time it's with Capricorn. What was it I read somewhere? The Pluto and Capricorn is the age of the plutocrat, the people who have extreme wealth and extreme power. And if you think about the fact that it's called a plutocrat, it just to me feels perfectly descriptive of the kind of people who really do seem to be holding the cards, and holding the strings to the purse for everybody. And really, it's the power crisis, the energy crisis we're experiencing in the UK. I'm not sure about in the US if you're having a similar issue, but in the UK, the energy bills are, I think they're like quadrupling or something. Like, it's mental how much it's costing. It's affecting the housing market. There's a fuel crisis, so there's the cost of petrol just to go to work for the month has gone from like an affordable amount to pushing. Like, I don't understand how anybody can think that it's justifiable when there's so much wealth in the world. But here I am spilling my personal thoughts on wealth distribution. I'm not somebody who doesn't believe in rewarding people for their skills and abilities and their contributions. However, I don't understand why it has to be so extreme. Why does it have to be extreme wealth? Why are there two people that are so filthy stinking rich? Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos or Bezos. Like, I don't have much love for Jeff. I don't know much about him, but I just don't really feel good towards him. Maybe I will if I looked into him a bit. But Elon Musk is very, very rich, but there seems to be a sense of rebelliousness about him, which I find appealing. Let me just look up his chart while we're here. Elon Musk birth chart, because I saw something really interesting. Oh, it's an X-rated chart. That's really annoying. So I guess I'll go for noon. Okay, so here's Elon Musk's chart. And actually, Elon Musk has got Mars in Aquarius. So this is what was being discussed previously. Two charts with transits is select. So let's do now transits. So Mars retrograde up here on his Gemini stuff, on his Venus and his Ceres. And actually down here we have Saturn hovering around his Mars. So interesting that I actually quite like Elon Musk and respect his quirkiness and fearlessness as far as doing things differently is concerned. I think he has come out and said that he is Asperger's, which being neurodiverse. I did a talk on the Uranus-Neptune generation, and I talked about neurodiversity being a key for, not saying it's future success and you're only going to be successful if you are neurodiverse, but just saying that the way the world is going, neurodivergence is on the not on the rise, but it's much more able to process some of the more modern adaptations to our like technological evolution and therefore our everyday lives, because we are becoming one with technology. Actually, coming up here, cat scratching my leg. So yeah, so just looking, we know that Elon Musk in April, he started acquiring Twitter. And he's literally just completed his acquisition of Twitter. I can't remember what the dates were now. I think it was the 27th of it was the 27th of October that he actually acquired Twitter. I've got Archer's trying to come up. Are you coming up? No, decided he's not going to. Bloody cats, so indecisive. So yeah, it's interesting that this would happen during eclipse season, really, and you know, or the window at least, and that we've got this kind of part of the plutocracy, you know, the powers that be, the ruling structures who have all the power, and you know, the people that own the broadcasting outlets, which, you know, we'd previously just say like BBC, you know, CNN. I'm trying to think of all the, you know, like, is it ABC? All the different news outlets. You know, it's so much broader than that now. It's Twitter, it's Facebook. I remember when things started to go quite newsy on Facebook, having a news feed, and kind of finding that a bit annoying, but realizing that a lot of people, the first thing they do is put their phone in front of their face while they're in the bathroom, or just as they get out of bed. That's the first thing they do when they get up. So of course the news channels want to take advantage of that and be the first people to jump in your face. And of course also the algorithms programmed to give you more of the stuff that you're interested in. So Elon Musk, we are yet to see what his plans are for Twitter. He speaks out on issues that are important to him, and he does so in a fearless way. I suppose you would be able to do that if you were one of the richest or the richest man in the world. So yeah, he's got that sun in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, midheaven in Cancer. Well, we don't know that actually because his chart is an X-rated chart. His moon is potentially in Virgo, highly likely. Yeah, if we went 12 hours before, I'm sure it wouldn't dip into Leo. But yeah, we don't know exactly where his lunar placement is or what his ascendant is. However, I think that it's an interesting looking chart. What's he got here? So he's got Neptune and Jupiter together, which is interesting because at the moment we have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. Where are they? There they are. Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces. So he's having his time, his Jupiter Neptune time right now. He's kind of vibing with that conjunction that's dancing around, even if it's quite wide. But also what I'm looking for his Uranus, where it is there. Okay, so yeah, he's very, in my opinion, very Uranian. And a Uranus Lilith conjunction, you know, we could go as far to say as the ultimate rebellious spirit, because Lilith will not be told. She will not do what as she's told. She will do what is ultimately what is right. There's a sense of a real sense of righteousness about Lilith. You know, she's not here to just break the rules for the sake of breaking the rules. She's here to fight for equality. And maybe what Elon Musk's mission here is, and what his Mars is being crystallized currently, maybe this is about, you know, redressing the balance, because Facebook is owned, Instagram is owned, and WhatsApp are all connected. And Twitter, I believe at one point was also in the same group of people. It's that kind of Silicon Valley politics, which is, you're literally using those apps. We are literally being told one side of the story. And it's the side that is approved by the people who are creating, owning and distributing the information, the broadcasting, basically, from Google and YouTube and WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram. So all the fact checking, you know, it's, as you'll see, is being filtered. And at the moment, I think that on Twitter, Elon Musk is not, he's not changed the fact checking or filtering aspects of it. And he said he shared some a controversial tweet and then deleted it recently as well. So he's kind of being held accountable for spreading fake news. But I think that ultimately what's going on is that we are going to see a very different news sharing platform in Twitter in the coming months and years, though it's very early days currently, so we're not seeing it at this present moment. So I didn't really want to go on a big long waffle, but Elon Musk in my mind was a good one to just pull up very quickly. And look at that as well, Mars retrograde trying his Mars as well. And he's got it in, you know, so we don't know. The noon chart, Mars falls in his 5th house. And in the, you know, in the noon chart as well, Mars retrograde is quite high in the chart. And, you know, this acquisition of Twitter, it kind of, you know, during a Mars retrograde to complete that acquisition seems fitting because it started in April and then it's going back and completing those first steps. And actually what's going to be going on for the next few months is he's probably going to be changing the way things are done. It's quite interesting to follow him because he's highlighting stuff he finds quite funny as far as Twitter is concerned at the moment. So it's worth having a little look at his Twitter if you aren't following him. It's interesting to see, to look at his chart, to think about not just him and kind of the things he does. Like this is like, for me, like the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is like a visionary, and Neptune in Sagittarius is like, this is the SpaceX stuff that he does. This is somebody who has, anyone with Jupiter in Scorpio, I kind of like give them the title. One of my clients, she has it rising, and I said, you're a teacher of transformation. She is a dance teacher, but she works with children who have special educational needs, some you know, physical or cognitive, I don't know if the word is disability anymore, but definitely the, you know, the people who aren't typically fitting into what we would consider to be the norms. And she, you know, she loves what she does. She helps them build their confidence, and she watches them go from shy, nervous individuals to being confident people, you know, able to find joy in moving their bodies and find a joy in being themselves and truly expressing who they actually are. And that to me is teacher of transformation. Elon Musk has that. That he has the Jupiter in Scorpio combination, which is a teacher of transformation, but with that Neptune so close by as well, it's this visionary, transformative visions that are beyond our wildest dreams, it feels to me. And, you know, he's living up to that. He's really doing something with that in his chart. And obviously that's in Scorpio. He's being highlighted. His chart is highlighted as far as that is concerned. His Mars is also being aspected by square from the eclipses currently. So it's, you know, he's one to watch. You know, he's controversial. He's quirky. He's definitely rebellious. He's definitely got that. There's something, I think, with a lot of people who are neurodiverse, they do really find it hard to be dishonest or inauthentic. And I think that Elon Musk has expressed that he just finds it hard to not tell the truth. And I think that this is a very truth-speaking, and especially in Libra, it is about equality. It's about redressing balance. There is something very, a strong, righteous spirit there. So I thought that was quite interesting. So if we go back to just the one chart again and just skip ahead, let's go back to days and go 1 2 3 4 5 6. So there we have the eclipse. I think I said it was like 11 o'clock, didn't I? Why am I on San Francisco time? That's weird. So yeah, I don't know why it's on San Francisco time here, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, probably because I was talking to Stephen Forrest. But yeah, so just loosely looking at the eclipse, it doesn't have to be exact. All right, let's go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have got this. This is ushering in change. And one thing that I noticed, somebody talking to me the other day, and she just said, I'm just, we're all so fed up of like the uncertainty and instability. It's been ongoing and it's just something we don't have anymore. And it's just so fixed signs, Uranus, shaking up the fixed signs. So the good news is, in my opinion, is that Uranus isn't going to constantly shake us up and make us feel unstable, because one day he's going to leave Taurus, but we still have to deal with him for like a good cruise through the other half of Taurus. And during eclipse season, more so we're going to feel this unstable kind of unsteady essence. And at the moment, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, conversations about what's truly important to us, what we're really prioritizing, and it's actually crisis talks. These can be crisis talks. It could be about career, it could be about earning potential, it could be relationships and how we value ourselves in the partnership with others, whether that's our romantic relationships, our friendships, or potentially family dynamics, or even business partnerships as well. So there's a lot being shaken up. But this, I feel that this upcoming eclipse, with the moon in conjunction with the North Node and Uranus electrifying things, really there's a sense of change. If we want to make changes, if we want to make positive change in our life, I feel it's going to be, whether we want to steer it ourselves or whether we're actually being pushed, I can't help but feel that this change is coming. Don't worry, fixed signs. I don't think it's going to be as scary as it seems. I feel like when it's with the North Node, we are being pushed out of our comfort zone for the greater good, for our own benefit. And, it's really easy to stay here. It's very comfortable to stay here in the comfort zone, and to not make changes where needed. But the problem is staying here is, you're not really going to go any further. And this kind of Scorpio, I was describing it to someone the other day. People talk about Scorpio being like an ice cube, or like an iceberg being fixed. But actually, sometimes I think of Scorpio as the water being in a lake, unable to move anywhere, just sitting in this lake. And there are many layers of, water and density reaching into the sediment at the bottom of the lake. And the water's quite toxic. So it needs movement. It needs to be shaken up a little bit. So this, I think, is really going to be a time of shaking up, positive change, and potentially, it might feel scary and we might feel thrown forward a little bit. But ultimately, I think the shake-up is going to be good for us in a psychological sense, or at least force us to address some of the deeper psychological stuff that we're not addressing currently, particularly with Neptune, with Jupiter at 29 Pisces and Neptune at 22 Pisces. They're close together again. They're within orb, and whatever we're not addressing in our waking state seems to be coming up in the dream state. So pay attention to that as well. Yeah, I just thought I'd do a little check-in. Ended up doing an Elon Musk exploration, but yeah, it was more to do with just having a look at eclipse season and just seeing where we're at, basically. So hopefully you found it useful. Don't forget about the magic of iDiaries. I'm going to pull names out of a hat probably about the end of November, so that I can send the diary out ready for the new year, for one lucky winner. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you have a private channel, just email me, Stephanie at Stellium Astrology. That's STEFANIE at stelliumastrology.com. And just screenshot that and email it over so I can put you in the draw in case you don't show up on the YouTube list. Some people just don't. And yeah, if you've got a moment and you're enjoying the podcast, please write me a review. I love getting reviews. It's wonderful. And you know, it really helps me. It spurs me on sometimes. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I have moments of low energy and I just kind of think, oh, what's the point? And I get a review that just absolutely makes my day. So if you can have sympathy for this poor little Scorpio moon who's being electrified left, right and centre by the eclipses, maybe take pity and write a nice review to give me a little kick up the bum. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you next time.